May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please?
Broadcast.
Will the real Weird Sisters please stand up? We're gonna have a problem here. We're the Weird Sisters, we're the real Weird Sisters. All you other Weird Sisters are fine, but not the Vicars. Will the real Weird Sisters please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up.
Hello and welcome to the broadcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is season 4, episode 28, episode number 163. We are joined once again by the real Weird Sisters. Alice and Martha are still in the house or in the bed, whichever way you want to go, leaving off from how we ended it last week, aka 10 minutes ago. Hello, everyone.
Woohoo! So glad to be on the show in bed.
We're glad to be back. It's been so long.
In bed.
So cozy.
Captain Awesome the Cat has joined us in bed.
Yep. As he is wont to do.
Sweet.
He'll start batting us in the face pretty soon.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, so we've got some cat goodness here. I think everybody on this show, all 5 of us, are cat owners. Does anybody in the house have a dog?
Yeah. 2 tabby owners and 3 black cat owners.
Yeah.
And one thick cat owner.
Well, 2 thick cats. This cat is pretty thick.
One
pretty thick too.
One thick gray and white cat.
Even at his thinnest, he's pretty thick.
I don't think any of us have dogs, do we?
Nope.
No. I
For the
would.
record, yes. Thank you. I would love to have a dog too. I think people very often make it an either or thing, where really so many things in life can be an and thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All animals.
I would like to have a dog, but I have to have a cat. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs are fine, but I love cats.
It's fair.
I feel like it's dog people who force the binary,
Yes, it
more
is.
than cat people.
Yeah, it's like an aggressive thing, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh, cat.
Because dog people often hate cat people.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
It's
Yeah.
really mean. And so then it makes me feel like I have to be a just cat person because, yes, I prefer cats.
See,
and I'm
this
like, I have to
nation is-
defend my cats.
We're so
That's
divided.
fair, actually, because I
We're
always
so
considered
divided.
myself a dog person until I got this particular cat.
Ah.
A lot
now
of
I
dog
understand.
people are like that too. Like once they have had a certain cat, then they're like, "Oh no, I really like cats." Actually,
I think this cat is kind of like a dog, so I think that he's like
That helps.
the perfect mix of
Yeah.
the different types of pet.
Yeah, our Zoe, we always called her a puppy cat because she's very much like, she wants to sit on your lap. She wants you to pet her. She is just very
Needs to be fed at specific times during the
to
day.
be fed. Yes, she just is very. I don't know what the right word is to describe Zoe other than awesome, but we have decided that we are probably done with pets after Zoe. Just
Oh,
I don't know. They're a pain in the butt to clean, and we travel a lot. That's why we couldn't ever do the dog thing, is because we travel so much, and it just would be a pain in the butt. But she's a good kitty. She's a good kitty. Okay, so,
Captain's purring is just
Yes.
such
Aggressive.
a motor. Yeah.
It's loud.
Very beautiful.
Shh, buddy, you gotta be quiet if you're gonna be here.
No, it's a beautiful sound. No shade.
This is a ladies podcast.
I'm glad he's so happy.
He is, yes. But going back to the idea of cats having kind of dog traits, I have to wonder because there are things that you all have said, and then also things that I would say about both of my cats that are considered sort of dog-esque. So do we just, as a culture, not have a good definition of actually what cat traits are? Are we selling them short?
Yes, because cats have a very wide range of personalities, and people who haven't had cats before seem to not get that. They think all cats are aloof and don't need affection and all this stuff. And it's okay, that's how they maybe are to strangers, but
Yeah.
Which is like, a fair reaction.
Yeah, I think
Right.
like cat
Right,
traits,
we
like
teach our
universal
kids to
cat
be like
traits,
that.
most of the time are like lazy, like sleep, like likes to sleep and rest, and then like picky
Aloof and
maybe about
needy.
people. Yeah, but I'm trying to like phrase it in a way that's like more.
Oh, you're trying to say what actual cat
Yeah.
traits are. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think a lot of cats are picky about who they like.
Mhm.
Fiona's just kind of like Fiona's a little bit of a slut. She likes everyone.
Yeah, that's how our
Captain
parents' cat
Captain.
Wheezy is.
Yeah. He'll greet you at the door. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if he knows you or not.
Yeah, our parents' cat will just jump on anybody's lap and like cuddle up to them right away.
Yeah. Fiona's very much like that too. And then Gabby like follows me around like a dog.
Mm.
But maybe that's also like a cat.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Good point, Shandy.
Yeah, those shirts that say, like a girl? You need a shirt that says like a cat.
I was gonna say like the new Lizzo song is not gonna be like a girl; it's like a cat.
In bed. Anyways, we had a bunch of feedback from our crossover feedback. We had a little bit of feedback. Does anybody want to start with that and see what discussion it brings? We also have this article that was, as we have been affectionately calling it, the poop thing, and this actually comes about from, and maybe we should end with this, because this comes about from last week or 2 weeks ago, episode 426. We talked about how Amanda used to not like peeing in motion. And
I just don't like public I don't like public restrooms in general, but I particularly don't like ones that move, i.e. planes, buses, trains, and the like.
totally
That's fair.
Fair.
I've always been very had some weird like bathroom preferences, as Alice I'm sure can agree with. For instance, I used to really want a porta potty in our backyard. I thought it'd be really cool.
Oh,
So I'm like the exact opposite of you, Amanda.
I was going to say that one.
no, that sounds like my nightmare.
When I was younger, I definitely thought it was really cool to go to the bathroom on any kind of public transportation that we were on. I'd be like, I have to go to the bathroom, even if I didn't have to. Like,
Nope.
I wanted to use the plain bathroom.
Nope.
Yeah. Also, Martha, we can't have a conversation about bathrooms without bringing this up. Martha, like as a very young child and up to the present, has a very special talent, and that is always knowing the brand of toilet in any given facility that she's used.
That is a talent.
Like, so here's how this came about. So I took piano lessons from somebody with the last name Kohler, and spelled like how the toilet brand is. And so one time she was in the car after our piano lesson, and she was like, you were probably, how old do you think you were? Like 5?
Oh God.
Maybe like 7.
Maybe like 7. So like somewhere in that age range. And she's like, have you ever thought about how it's really weird how it's funny how at our piano teacher's house, she has a church toilet, and the church has a Kohler toilet. And I was like, a church toilet? What are you talking about? She's like, a church toilet. I'm like, what is a church toilet? She's like, that's the brand. Like, I've never even heard of a church toilet. Well, apparently that's like a major brand.
It is a major brand.
How did
I'm
you
going to
know
be on
that
the
it,
lookout
like,
for
said
church
it?
toilets.
It's a major ceramic brand of like, they do like toilets and sinks and bathtubs.
So anyways, so then after that, I was like, so you always watch the brand of every toilet that you ever use? Well, yep, she does.
I was like, doesn't everybody? I thought that was something that everybody just paid attention. Like, you're in a bathroom. What else are you going to look at? Like, oh, okay, this is an American
book?
standard toilet. Oh, this was
A magazine.
You have to like turn behind yourself.
Wait,
Well-
what brand is your brand of choice?
I mean, you can't go wrong with good old American standard. I have. That's really.
What about Kohler? That's a pretty good one, right?
Kohler's classic, but a little bit overplayed.
I don't even know if I could tell you the brand of my toilet in my bathroom.
I'm definitely gonna look.
A fun choice. A fun choice is Gerber. Just because I like that there's the Gerber toilet and there's also Gerber baby food. I don't think they're related, but I'm always kind of
It's
think
a
it's
very
fun when there's a Gerber
diversified
toilet.
brand.
Yeah.
And another one I've never even heard of. I
Yeah.
think there was one named Gerber.
You know what? I bet that that's probably like somebody's last name, but it's a word in French, gerber, which sort of means like to spring forth, but also means to puke. So I find that kind of funny for a toilet.
Well, the
funny.
last little toilet thing. I told my current roommates about this. About a month into living with them, because I
There's
told
this
them
baby I'm
we actually
obsessed with in toilets. So,
what you have what toilets?
said there's this baby I'm obsessed with, and there's toilets.
The two things you need to know about me.
Zachary Lewis
But
and
we actually have
toilets.
4 bathrooms in our house because
Wow.
Baltimore cost of
The
living is
dream.
extremely cheap. But I was telling them that I was very excited when I moved in and I saw that my bathroom toilet is Glacier Bay, and the
I've heard
main
of
floor
that.
bathroom is also Glacier Bay, and then the two of them, they have ProFlow toilets, and I was like, you don't want a ProFlow toilet. It was
ProFlow. Ugh.
just such an ugly sounding name. Glacier Bay is so pleasant, and I have a ProFlow toilet.
What do we have at our
It does
house?
sound like an economy brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Martha, what do we have at our house?
You have American Standard, right?
I don't remember.
I mean, it's been a while since I've only been at your house the one time.
Well, what do
Your
our
new
parents
house.
have?
American Standard.
Oh, okay.
And church lids, church lids, and American Standard bowls.
Oh my.
Okay, well, anyway, I got us off track with that, but I
Yes.
felt like if we're going to have a conversation about bathrooms, we have to share that.
I'm so glad that you did, because I
That's
really
amazing.
feel like this is a part of Martha that I didn't know I needed to know.
Oh my
Almost
God.
4 years into having a podcast, and that story hasn't made it out yet.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
The real scoop.
I thought everybody looked at it when I
The
was
real
like,
poop.
however old I was, I definitely thought that was a normal thing to look at. But
It wasn't.
Okay. This is great because if now you have to come to Raleigh because you have to identify all the toilets in
Oh
the
my
house
God.
and the hotel room by name.
hopefully, it's not ProFlow.
Oh God, please don't let it be ProFlow. Then does this extend to like porta potty brands or toilet paper?
Well, I always liked the little stinkers porta potties just because it's a cute name.
That is a cute
That's
name.
not
Zachary's
cute. I don't like that at all.
Their mascot is a skunk.
Okay, that is kind of cute.
Cute.
Zachary's obsessed with the porta potties that have the little poop chimney.
A boy after my own heart.
Does he want one for your backyard?
He does. He's not
See?
getting one.
I knew I stand for a reason.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right. Anyway, we'll tease the poop thing for the end of the show. So stick around. We will kick this off with a little bit of feedback. The first bit of feedback comes from the Facey group, and although this was sent before our discussion last week, Dennis did a picture of Little Women, the new Little Women, with Shandy's face, and said, "Just okay is not okay."
AT&T Wireless.
Oh, yes. Right. I totally missed that part of the thing. Which makes me laugh because I can't wait to see what Dennis comes up with after hearing your actual thoughts and opinions.
It's a really beautiful picture of you, Shandy.
It is a beautiful picture.
It's good.
I think
It
it's
makes me
from-
look like a psychopath, but I know what it's from. And when
Well,
it's cropped out like just my head, it's...
No, I like it a lot. I'm not kidding.
No, it's a good picture. I think so too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good photo.
It's from the Raleigh meetup. Just
Yeah,
saying.
I knew that.
Oh.
Yep.
So Matt shared his Goodreads page for the Broadcast Book Club. I will put that in the show notes for anybody who is interested in that. It was in the show notes at the end of the year too when we talked about it, but I will add it back into the show notes. He also continues with Matt explaining wouldn't be the 1.609 kilometer high club.
Which is the equivalent of 1 mile. just in case.
Yeah. Okay, and now this is feedback specific from our Facebook group. This is from Erin. Not related to tonight's recording, but as a newer listener who listened in preparation for Friday's episode, I went back to listen to the previous crossovers. There's one question plaguing me that I need an answer to. In the first crossover, there is a conversation about a circle jerking in the dorm. Hilarious yet disturbing. Shandy seemed to believe that this actually happened in real life and encouraged men to write in to confirm. Was this ever confirmed? Inquiring minds, ...
Well, much to my chagrin, I don't think we ever got any emails about that.
Weird.
Yeah. I think that did we also talk about that on an episode of The Tribe? Because I feel like I've talked about it multiple times.
It's possible.
It's
And
very
I don't know
possible.
why I would have ever talked about it.
Well, I think maybe I've talked about it with you in real life, Shandy.
Also possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I have never heard anyone other than Shandy admit to this, but I guess maybe the guys I know wouldn't admit to it.
I mean, I didn't admit, like, I haven't been part of a circle jerk. I just want to put that out
I
there.
think like the fact that there hasn't been a plot about circle jerking on Sex Education makes me think it's not something that's common, but
Well, maybe that's
Valid.
still coming.
That's
mean,
season 3. You know, they gotta hold something back.
So,
I feel like I heard from several men who were like, no, gross. Why would Shandy think that's true?
yes, so we did get feedback about this.
Oh, did we?
We did get feedback
I
about
just
this.
chose to forget it.
And the conversation ended. The topic kind of met a very abrupt end, and it was the end of March or maybe early April episode of the broadcast. It was called I'm Not Eating That. It's the same episode in which the mail truck was on fire. And somebody wrote in and told the story about their friend jerking off in front of them into cookie batter or something.
And they had to eat it.
And he was like, I'm not eating that. And that's how we ended up. And Amanda made a video of our
I don't remember
reaction.
that at all.
I
don't
only
think we were
remember
part of
this in
that.
the retelling.
You guys
I
weren't a
don't
part
think
of
Alice
it.
and I were part of
You
this.
were not a part of it. So
Oh, okay. God.
Shandy, we all were like, Shandy, you're fucking insane. Circle jerks aren't a thing in real life. And she's like, no, they just don't admit to it. It's totally a thing. And we got some feedback after that. We got feedback over the next like 6 weeks, and it was this particular episode, and it was in March. It was right after the mail truck had blown up, and Zachary was sick, and we recorded, and we didn't know that Drake was secretly watching us record. And
Oh, yeah.
I forgot
and
about that.
that was when we got this particular feedback, and Amanda made a video of our reactions to this phone call and put it on our YouTube page.
Yes. Yes.
I totally
so we will
forgot
have
all
to
about that.
reshare that for Erin to see it, which hopefully by the time this episode comes out on February 7th, this episode will be out. She will have already, that will be reposted, but here's the reminders, future self, to go find that video. So anyway,
And at that point, Alex will be the same age that Zach was when the broadcast started.
Nailed it.
yeah, nailed it. Anyway, so
Can I amend my claim then?
please do.
Okay, I'm still waiting for the hordes of men to confirm this. But in the meantime, I will maybe water it down a little bit to say that, okay, like maybe they don't jack off together, but in their adolescence, they definitely watch porn together.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's way different though.
Yeah, that's totally
That's
different
way
though.
different than whipping your dick out in front of somebody else.
I concede that it's very different. That's why I said water it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe some people
I would
will
agree
cop
to I would agree to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they definitely like talk about it, but I don't know.
And when they're watching
I've
porn,
never lived that experience, so I wouldn't know.
You would not know.
well, none of us are dudes, so
Exactly.
True.
True. Thank God.
Thank goddess.
Praise be.
All right. So let's get into some emails. The first email is from Tim, and it's a series of questions. And I think the first question is what we had already planned to talk about this before the email came in. But he starts with J.K. Rowling is a TERF, and a TERF, for anybody who doesn't know, is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. How can we possibly still stan? I'm going to just go down all the questions because I think that one's going to take the longest to answer. At this point, Cursed Child or the Fantastic Beast series?
I'm
Fantastic
100% on Fantastic Beasts. Now, Amanda, you saw Cursed Child, right?
I did.
So are you on Cursed Child side?
In terms of what's better?
I think so. I think that's the question.
Yeah, everything with Tim is ranking something, don't forget.
Mm.
Shandy's
favorite.
favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shelley's-
perhaps so. I think the staging of the play exhibits a lot more artistry than I think maybe the movies do.
I'm going to have Shandy's face.
I actually haven't seen any of the Fantastic Beast movies.
And have
Oh,
you
Shandy.
listened to our podcasts about them?
I have not.
And yet you call yourself our mother.
Well, I have to watch the movies
Slash-
first, right?
/ frequent podcast
I
appearance / final two on Radical Survivor / used to have our grandparents' couch.
Next question is Mary F. Kill, Newt Scamander, his book, or an actual Newt?
This is the weirdest question.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Spirited.
Okay, I'm gonna marry the book, fuck the actual person, and kill Newt.
Seems like the only correct answer.
Yeah.
You want to marry the actual Newt?
Well, unless you feel guilty about like murdering a living being versus
So you're gonna
murdering
murder the book? Maybe
And the book kind of sucks.
Also, how do you fuck a book?
Oh, you just cut a hole in it.
Did you guys see those tweets this week that were like, the guy was like, people call me a book murderer because I cut my books in half so they're easier to transport.
Yes.
So
I have seen
So
that.
if that's what's involved, then sure, I'll kill the book.
Okay.
And then I'll marry the newt, the animal, because I'm definitely not going to fuck that.
how could you? It's like this.
That's what she said.
Okay, so for killing the book, I sort of picture more of like a book burning situation, and like that's not good either.
Good
That's
point.
true, but like of all books to burn, I mean, that's a seriously lame book. It's just like an encyclopedia of a bunch of magical creatures, and like it's not
Where
that
to find
long.
them?
What?
And where to find them?
That's
Right,
your
exactly.
that's your husband book that you're talking
Well
about.
done.
Well, no, that's not my husband's book.
Thought you married Newt.
I married the newt.
I thought you
Gosh,
fucked the
keep
Newt.
up.
No, I said I wouldn't do that.
I am so confused. Okay.
Okay, that's Tim
Aren't
for
we
you.
all?
Ooh.
All right.
Fuck, marry, kill the Fat Friar, the Bloody Baron, or the Grey Lady. Which he doesn't actually say. Marry, fuck, kill either. He just lists
I
them
think
out.
he just wants us to discuss those three.
You can talk about them.
Or we could talk about them, sure. So they're ghosts.
I'm gonna fuck
Yeah.
the Grey Lady for sure.
They're all really annoying in their own way. I almost might kill the Fat Friar because
Yeah.
he's really annoying.
I might want to fuck the Bloody Baron. He sounds.
Oh,
Wow, Martha.
He's
it would
like
probably be interesting if nothing else.
He's got all those chains, you know.
Oh,
oh. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He wears them as pennants.
That is so stupid.
Wait, don't you do like a Dobby impression or something that everybody likes?
What did you say?
Dobby. Fuck
Oh,
you guys. Or Murdy Myrtle.
Yeah, Moaning Myrtle, Martha.
Oh no, I think I.
Can you talk about fucking the Fat Friar? No, the Bloody Baron in Moaning Myrtle's voice, please.
I don't want to.
Although Moaning Myrtle has the most like overtly sexual name.
I know she does,
Yeah.
right?
She does.
I think we've actually talked about this on the previous crossover.
I think so too. That sounds about right.
Sounds about right that I would, lead with that as like a, new thought. We've actually discussed
The
it.
Gray Lady's kind of boring. That's my main
She's
problem
dull,
with her.
Yeah. Well, she and
So I think you're right about the. I think you're right about the Bloody Baron, Martha.
Yeah, he's definitely the most fun of the three. And also, he clearly feels bad for the way that he treated the Gray Lady in the past. So maybe he's going to be more respectful of women now.
Oh, have to make up for it.
Yeah.
He's got a couple centuries to get
Well-
some therapy.
Maybe you fuck the Gray Lady because you show her what she's been missing and make her fun. I don't know. That
I'm
sounded
gonna marry her.
misogynistic
She's
in
Show her what
all
she's
the
been
ways.
missing, the diadem.
That was incredibly problematic. Forget I said it.
You're not going to be missing your diadem after.
Oh. Woo. All right, moving on. If the broadcast took over Hogwarts, what would the names of the new houses be, and what are their mascots? Ooh, I like this question.
I think definitely one of the house mascots would be the Pussies.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I was just about to
Squatty
say this
potty,
question.
perhaps.
The squatty potty.
Squatty potty.
House. That could just be the Slytherins.
Okay.
Hey!
I'm just kidding. I just said that for you, Sharon.
One would
Actually,
be a cat for sure. One would definitely be a cat.
I think we just have the cat house, and that's everybody goes to the cat house.
Well, because why do you
Everybody
need to
goes-
choose? Right,
exactly.
Candy?
Right. It'd be all.
Exactly.
If the broadcast took over, I don't think there would be a house sorting system.
Yeah.
There's no hierarchy. It's, like a horizontal structure.
Yep.
Kind of like
all
a hippie
inclusive.
commune kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Man, I'm still trying to think though. I reserve the right to come back to this question because I like it.
Okay.
The first actual good question from Tim, and we just
I
skate
know,
over it.
right?
We're not used to it.
I know. He's like, "Fuck you guys." I put a whole 12
I was
seconds
actually-
into that one.
I was going to say that this question is too hard.
Yeah.
It is.
That's what she said.
Oh,
In
Yeah.
bed.
Team Pussycat, Team Squatty Potty, Team Kohler Toilets, Team. I don't know. That would be the mascot. Would be the Kohler Toilet, right? Of the Squatty Potty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the little stinkers, and they would have the skunk, like Martha said.
Yeah. Team Tequila.
Team Tequila.
That's true.
Yeah, I think I like
Team Universe.
House Little Stinkers.
Ah,
Yeah. Team Universe.
for sure.
Good.
Okay, I like that one. Good job, Tim. Thanks. Are J.K. Rowling's other books any good?
Such a random.
I like
Actually, he said, is JK's other books good?
which I will say, I transferred this question into the
No.
outline and I retyped them, but I made sure to keep his original grammar and
Right, I
structure.
believe you on that one. Yeah, for sure.
I have not read any of her other books, so I'm out of this one.
I think they're fine.
I like the Cormoran Strike books.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
really
like the
I
Cormoran
really
Strike
like
books.
them.
Yeah.
Casual Vacancy is not very good, but the
The casual
other books are good.
vacancy is kind of weird. I don't know. You really liked it the first time you read it, Martha.
Well, I just liked reading another book by J.K. Rowling, because back then I didn't know things about her.
Right.
Right. I really like the Cormoran Strike books. they're not all equally great, but I think the second one and the third one are both pretty good mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The first one is probably the weird, like most boring, and then the fourth one is kind of long.
I haven't read the
Unnecessarily
fourth one yet, although I have it. I could not get through Casual Vacancy. I think I got maybe 100 pages in and was like, good. Finally, Seven Marthas. Can you imagine? Seriously.
Which I have to say is his seventh question. I feel like that's an important thing to add. I actually, full disclosure, when I saw this, I laughed out loud.
Shandy. Okay.
I know, I'm sorry. I was on your side, Mother, for a long time, but it's the repetition that gets me.
Yeah.
That's him and most of his humor, yeah.
For Amanda and Colleen's sake, because Seven Marthas was a joke on the first movie, 7-part
It's like
one
a
movie cast.
non-joke.
Yeah.
It was a non-joke joke.
It was because there's the scene with the 7 Potters in
Yep.
the beginning of Deathly Hallows.
Right.
Tim took notes for the 7-part one movie, and he wrote Seven Marthas, and then he thought that was the funniest thing ever, so that he just kept
Sounds-
repeating it.
That
This is
sounds
gonna be
like
funnier.
Seven Marthas, like every
He's
5
like,
minutes.
and it wasn't funny. And it really wasn't funny. But like now, I'm sorry.
Say something enough times.
Kind of funny because it's so stupid. Like it's just it doesn't mean anything, and it's like makes no sense. So that's kind of why it's funny.
Right.
The music
Also
him that
because
much.
it's his seventh question.
Mm,
Okay.
that was probably an
Good job.
accident on his part.
Definitely an accident. yes.
No, guys, he had 6, and he was like, shit, what can I come up with to add something? He's like, let me just say Fat Friar, Bloody Barrett, and Grey Lady. And think about it.
That's right.
The one that provided the most discussion.
Oh, good times, good times. Okay, so getting back to this discussion at hand, to switch into a little bit of serious territory. So, as you guys have discussed, and as Amanda learned a few hours ago,
I'm not on Twitter anymore, guys. I'm slow to news.
But you
Or
somehow
Leslie.
you saw the book murderer thing, though.
I listened to Wait, Don't Tell
Oh,
Me.
okay. That explains it.
So there was an incident, for lack of a better term, where back at the end of December, J.K. Rowling had a tweet that came out, and the tweet says, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who'll have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real. Hashtag I stand with Maya. Hashtag this is not a drill." And that tweet there was incredibly problematic for a reason. To first provide some background to the I Stand With Maya thing is there's this bitch called Maya Forrester who was fired from her job for being for transphobic comments, and I think all around just being an asshole to work with. But she made it from my understanding, a pretty hostile working environment, but she mainly refused to acknowledge that, the trans community is real. And, Martha and Alice, you guys can jump in at any point and correct me, if I am wrong here, with any of my facts. But, essentially, this woman went to court in the UK and, did she lose her court case?
Yeah, she didn't. I think she might have gotten a little bit of a settlement or something, but she didn't get her job back or anything.
So anyway, this brings us to late 2019, and because 2019 and 2020 and 2018 and 2017 and 2016 have been dumpster fires, of a half of a decade. J.K. Rowling, of course, outed herself essentially as a trans exclusionary radical feminist, or TERF, TERF, as the acronym goes. This was, of course, very hurtful to a lot of people in the Harry Potter community. I know that over the last, has it been 20 years, right? 21 years this year, so 20 and a half years, that the fan community has grown. It has become enveloped a lot of people, young fans, people who found their identities and their voices and felt safest within the sub-communities they formed within the Harry Potter community. And I was just to hear that or read that tweet and kind of learn that J.K. Rowling has this opinion that is just so hurtful and, in my opinion, wrong, I think, really upset a large part, if not the majority of the hardcore fandom. And that brings us to our discussion today, which is it possible to how does a fandom or a fan community move forward? Why doesn't somebody else talk?
Well, okay, so my first thing that I think is part of why it's been pretty hurtful to people is that I think people were very shocked by it, because it is very incongruous with a lot of the other things she has stood for in the past. Now, I don't want to say that she's perfect because she's done some other kind of weird things too, like how she was super defensive of Johnny Depp. Yeah, that was a big problematic thing recently as well. But generally speaking, the books that she put out were really very progressive, and she's been a big champion for equal rights for lots of other different groups. So it seemed really random that now suddenly she doesn't seem to value the trans experience.
Right.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things that was so problematic about the tweet, and I mean, people know this, but something that we on our podcast haven't really addressed, we actually talked about it the day that it happened. So we had a very brief discussion, just wanted to be a blanket statement of saying that we disavowed what she said and that we were, welcoming of all people of all backgrounds and identities on our podcast. But I just want to be able to address why exactly the tweet was so problematic, because the problem is that she kind of phrased this in this way that's saying do whatever you want, as if it's a choice and as if it's this lifestyle that people are choosing. And it's framed in this way that it's supposed to seem like she's supportive. But it's this really problematic idea of being supportive, but only to a certain extent and not actually being supportive at all. And that's what really the whole TERF problem is where they're, feminists and saying equal rights, but only until it's only until it's convenient for me. It doesn't go past my own experience, and it doesn't go past what I think should be rights, what's going to make me comfortable. So the problem with her phrasing is, she says do whatever you want, dress however you like. And it's supposed to sound yes, of course I accept you, but I only accept you. I accept you as this version of you that I see, you're choosing these things. And that's really what's so problematic, is it's being framed as a choice, and she's making it seem like she's being supportive, and that makes it even more scary, because the problem is that's not supportive, and that's extremely dismissive of trans people's experiences. And that's, we got some feedback from listeners kind of confused about what was the problem with her tweet in the first place, because it sounds supportive in the first place until that final hashtag. And even people like Mark Hamill, he accidentally liked the tweet and then he unliked it, and then he tweeted publicly I didn't realize what she was talking about until the very end, and I just thought it sounded nice at first, and then and that's what's such a problem about it.
Right. And I had the same thing, because when I first read it and then I got to the end and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like that dangerous part of white feminism that, you has started to kind of get a little bit more, rightfully so, attention, where it excludes the experiences of certain people, but presents it in a way that is sneaky and...
Yeah. No, right. And I was gonna say like
Normalizing not that somebody else normalizing normalizing dismissing someone else's experience. Does that
Right. It's like
it's like
woke in the way that we use woke with like air quotes.
right? It's like when people say
it's like
this
do
is
do whatever you want, but like whatever you do, I still see you a certain way. That's
Right.
kind of the message that I'm getting from it. Like she's fine with people living their life how they want, but at the end of the day, she's still going to determine what their biological sex is, and so that's all that
Right.
matters to her.
Right.
Right.
It's like hypothetically being okay with something versus like in actuality being okay with something.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds it, to an extent, is because I know that this, has been. This comes up every year when somebody says, celebrating 101 years of a woman's right to vote. And it's like, no,
Yep.
celebrating 100 years of a white woman's right to vote.
Yeah,
So-
right. Exactly. And I mean, like coming back to like what you're saying, Colleen, about white feminism and the fact that feminist is in that acronym. Obviously, I think that those are both really key things to point out, but like I would argue that neither is feminist. Like if you're getting down to the essence of what feminism is, it is not that. Like you have to be accepting of all of these different life experiences. And so, yeah, I understand why they would be classified as
Well, I
maybe
think it's partly,
pseudo-feminist.
like, that's how
They
would
fashion
see-
themselves. Yes, exactly.
They consider
Right.
themselves feminist, but
Right.
then at the
It's not
end
a
of the day,
derogatory term
air
in all
quotes,
circles.
Yeah, and so then certain like conservative people can sort of like latch onto that and like be okay with it, and then also like say that they're feminist because but like no, no. And of course, like all of us have our shortcomings, and we're like 5 white women talking about 5 white cisgender women on this podcast, talking about this. But I think what's important is that we like question these things, and like when they come, like we learn and seek things outside of our own experience, and constantly question then like what actual feminism is. And so I don't want anyone to think that like that's a legitimate form of feminism, because it's not.
Yeah.
Well, and then also
Right,
just like
right.
in this day and age, this is really not an acceptable like way to be acting. Like for J.K. Rowling, I just think like I just don't get why she had to say anything in the first place about that particular issue.
Right.
She doesn't tweet that often. And then B, it's like I don't know what her game there was, because she just must be
She just
very out of
wanted
touch with
herself.
she's just very out of touch with reality, I think, though, because I think like I can't imagine that you would tweet that if you thought that would be the average fandom response would be as negative as it was. Why would you tweet that?
Right. That's my greater question is like there's like it's problematic for various obvious reasons that are like very concrete and touch a lot of people's actual lives. But then there's also this aspect of like PR, and I'm kind of like astounded that like really.
So I don't
Right.
know if this has changed or not, but it's my understanding that GLAAD said that they reached out to her and she did not accept the invitation to kind of have a conversation with her. Like, I guess they have people whose job is to reach out to famous people and celebrities who say, ignorant or hurtful things and try and reach out like, hey, can I educate you? And can I talk to you and maybe kind of have a conversation and educate you more? And, I don't know. I was trying to find before we recorded if there were any updates to it. And there was a link on Hypable that said something like J.K. Rowling breaks the silence. But when I clicked on the link, it was a dead link. So I don't know if that showed up in the search and just had been a story that was like retracted or taken down or something. So I tried to find out, and I haven't seen anything and I haven't heard anything. So I'm assuming that she kind of, did not take GLAAD's hand in this. Speaking of, 5, cisgender white women who are always willing to learn more things, I knew that the Johnny Depp thing was problematic, and I knew that the Nagini thing was problematic. And you hear things throughout the years that are like headlines on blogs or articles or something that you might skim and then kind of like forget about. But I didn't realize until I listened to Melissa and her guests talk about it on Pottercast how many instances in some of her other writings or comments, public comments, had been problematic. Like, apparently she made a statement about, and I don't know what it was, but about American Indians or something.
Yeah,
that
it was
was
in the Ilvermorny origin story,
That was in
borrowed
the- right, which-
heavily, borrowed,
Ooh.
cultural appropriated from Native American.
always rubbed me the
stories,
wrong
yeah.
way. Because
Yeah.
that was immediately called out. But I mean, just being from Montana, where we do have like a very large Native American population, and like
Yeah.
we have a lot of education about like Native American culture and history and everything. Like, I just
Yeah.
felt like that. I like immediately felt like that was not right. And then that was called out pretty publicly.
There was also in the second Cormoran Strike book, there's a comment about a man in a dress or
Yeah.
something.
Everything to this point, like, has been, I've been able to make excuses for, and that's bad. I mean,
And
now
here
that I'm
we
thinking
are,
about
yeah.
it, like, yeah, but like the Cormoran Strike one, like, usually when something like that happens, you can say like, well, that's the character,
Yeah.
like the character who's talking is like has problematic views. It's not the author, but this was the author talking. Like, she outed herself, like, very publicly, very clearly, what her stance on this issue is. And the thing that like rubs me the most wrong way about this is her stupid hashtag of "this is not a drill." Like,
Right.
every time I
And
read
she
that,
knew
every
it
time I
was
read the
gonna
tweet,
be-
I just cannot understand what the point of saying hashtag "this is not a drill" was, because that's not a hashtag. Like, that wasn't a hashtag that was trending. Like, people were not hashtagging "this is not a drill." It's like, people don't end tweets with hashtags anymore either. Like, that's not a normal thing to end with, like,
Oh,
a
they
hashtag
don't?
"this is not a
Shit.
drill." Like,
Shit.
what was her point? Is she's literally just saying, the more I read it, the more I see it as she is saying, I'm being honest with you now. I'm saying exactly who I am, and this is how I feel about it. This is not a drill. I am being honest. I'm outing myself, and it just makes me really sad to see that.
Yeah, well, the
stupid
thing I
hashtag.
hate is that, like, okay, trans people have not seen themselves reflected in Harry Potter all along, but a lot of people, I'm assuming, and what I've read on Twitter and stuff, like, have been able to say, okay, this is a parallel to maybe my life story. And I can see how I could have fit into this, like how there's so much about like resistance and kind of standing up against like people who don't want you to be who you really are, and people who have hatred of other groups for no good reason, that kind of thing. Like, so now the fact that it's like, okay, you actually are not included in this story. And that, like, from J.K. Rowling's perspective, like, that's what it seems like. Now it's like, okay, you weren't directly included, and now you also can't like imagine that you're included because J.K. Rowling was so like blatant about it.
Yep.
But I think you should be able to still imagine that.
No,
you're
and that's
included.
not. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I totally agree. Like, I think that the Harry Potter story is much bigger than just J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this is where
But
like
that's where I
reader-
feel like I could see people
Yeah.
believing, like
Yeah.
feeling that way, you know, and that's
Absolutely.
what is so sad.
That's really sad. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is where like thank God for reader response theory. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's more than her. Like, you know, when she's put it out there, just like Little Women, by the
Yeah.
way.
Women, put it out into the world.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling is a very small factor of what makes up the Harry Potter series. She's like a piece of it, but like we can separate it from her.
Yeah.
It's-
and I hope
just
and I
as a-
hope people can. Like, that's what the worry is that now, like you said, Alice, like, the fear is that they might not be able to see it anymore because they've been so hurt by it. Like, this is
And
a
that's,
very
I mean, totally valid. I
Yeah.
mean, I understand if people feel that way. And like the other concern is like, okay, more money is going to her if I buy any more Harry Potter stuff.
Right.
I mean, at this point, it's like a total drop in the bucket because she has a ton of money already. But
Well, and no, that's really interesting because on the one hand, like I'm always here for like reader response, and I think that that's so important. On the other hand, like especially like more in like the world of like visual arts, I don't prescribe to like you can separate the artist from
Right.
the work. You know, like I think about like Gauguin, like I love his paintings, but like fuck, he went to Tahiti and like spread syphilis to like 13-year-olds. That's not okay. So it's really hard then to appreciate his work because that fucking sucks.
Well, and I think
And
that-
now we have somebody, especially who's like our contemporary, who's still alive. I think that makes it in a way even harder.
oh, definitely.
it does, especially because she should be able to grow and change with the times. Like, even if we were looking at this and we were saying, okay, she made some comments like this like 15 years ago, maybe we could think, okay, well, it was a little bit different, like the general consensus on things at that time, and hopefully she's grown and changed. But now, like, she just said that, and that's not what our current, like, she should know better at this point. Like, there's really no excuse.
Right. I mean, there's no excuse unless that's what she believes. And that sucks. And that brings us what, is how do you separate the artist from the source material? Because I think that at this point, Harry Potter is bigger than just the stories. It's communities of people. It's Tumblr's Tumblr communities, right? Is that what the LiveJournal Tumblr? What is the thing that the kids do?
Not much.
Speaking of going with the times,
TikTok? I don't think it's much on
Well, I
TikTok.
think it's like
yeah.
Snapchat?
Tumblr communities of
Tumblr,
people
yeah.
who, came out because they felt safe. And it's people like our generation who want to introduce the series to their kids because it's our Lord of the Rings, so to speak. And it's like, okay, well, what do we do now? Because clearly we can't, there's no way to support J.K. Rowling in good conscience. And I always think that there's room for people to learn and grow, and I hope that happens. But like at the moment, can you kick an author out of, like, can you say, okay, you know what? This might be your property, but it belongs to us now. Like, this is our fandom, but you're excluded from anything. Like, what happens?
Right.
Well, and the thing is, like, out of most like classic children's books, there's really not that many authors that probably don't have very problematic things that they've done. It just makes it hard because she's current, and this is a really current thing she just said.
Right.
And
Social media and
it makes it really hard because it's like most children's authors are not as idolized as she is from so many people, so it's really tough.
One thing that's also really sad, and this is not an answer to the question at all, but one thing that makes me really mad is thinking about how this gave so many people an excuse to hate Harry Potter, and that makes me really upset because there have been so many people that that I've encountered over the last 10 years, especially where I meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, Harry Potter sucks," and they're like, they haven't read the books, they have only seen the movies, they have an opinion about Harry Potter, and now how am I supposed to defend Harry Potter when this is what the creator said? People who are not Harry Potter fans have an excuse to just blast Harry Potter now, and that makes me just so sad because I want to separate the book from the author, and I want to be able to just sing all of Harry Potter's praises and stuff. But now I was just reading responses to J.K. Rowling's tweet and just seeing people responding in general to what happened, and some people saying "Oh, I've always hated Harry Potter," blah, 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 blah. And it's okay, well, now they have a platform for this,
right? I knew that Harry Potter always sucked from the beginning.
I knew I was right to hate Harry Potter, and it just makes me sad because it's something that has brought so many people so much joy, including myself, obviously.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a total I don't know, directing your anger at the wrong thing, or directing your disgust at the wrong thing. But it does give those people an excuse, and that makes me...
Well, something? All of those people probably voted Larry Johnson, so fuck them anyway.
Larry Johnson.
Gary
Johnson. I don't know. The Aleppo dude.
Larry.
Wasn't
Jerry.
that a basketball player?
Sure.
Larry Bird.
I was gonna say Larry Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Oh, that's
lots of Johnsons.
Yeah.
This is like a Jerry, Gary, Barry Gergich situation now.
That guy? Him?
Football running back and American basketball player.
Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
Fine.
Larry Johnson.
Let me
But
re-say
the thing
this.
that sucks, from my perspective, the thing that I hate is it's hard for me to be okay, well, we can separate Harry Potter from J.K. Rowling, but at the end of the day, all of the five of us all have the same privilege of okay,
exactly,
this isn't
exactly
right.
Right.
Obviously for us, it's way easier to separate that story from the comments, versus people who are actually trans or who have like a trans family member or something, like this probably hurt them even, like I'm sure this hurt them even worse, you know? And so now it's like for them, that's going to be a much bigger, harder thing to do. And I don't blame them at all. Like that's really putting them in such a terrible position.
Right.
Like,
and you want to be an ally. So again, it's like,
right.
Yeah, I know. It's shitty.
Yeah. So I don't have a good answer. I don't know. The hard thing is like, I think maybe just like, don't ever try to get to know your heroes. Like I've heard that story before, but like, or that saying before, but it definitely, I've seen that come true with J.K. Rowling because she definitely used to be a hero of mine and not anymore, really.
It's like the era of social media where not only do you have the privilege of presenting your thoughts, but you almost feel like you have to.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I mean, like I still think the Harry Potter series is amazing, but it's just hard to like balance those two things.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's like, it's a completely different situation, but it's like, then what are the levels of offense? Because you think, like, I think about like Michael Jackson and that whole situation, and the same thing of separating the art from the artist.
Right.
Like his music means a lot to a lot of people, but now knowing what he has done in his personal life, how do you then justify still loving and continuing on with the music? And I think,
and speaking to like the idea that it's harder when someone's alive, I feel like after he died, all of the like stuff that he did kind of got forgotten, and so now like his music is, you know, pretty widely accepted again, and
It was.
that's the main thing you're talking about with him.
Yeah, until the documentary. But then even now, like I do feel like Yeah, I just feel like her being alive and still talking, like we could try to see a positive and say that maybe there's hope for change now and hope for growth. But right now it does make it worse because I just feel like, I mean, like Michael Jackson, other figures, like historical figures. There's obviously like, you know, C.S. Lewis and
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss, yeah, and Roald Dahl. Like all of these children's authors have a lot of issues, but they're all dead now. Like, so it's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, they were problematic, but everybody was problematic back then. But, you know, J.K. Rowling's here now.
Right.
Like,
she doesn't have the excuse.
And the fact that like, okay, I still think it would have been, I mean, she still would have done a ton of damage if she had ever tweeted that in the first place. But let's say that like 3 or 4 days later, even she had come out and issued an apology and just said, you know what, after hearing from everybody's response, I've taken a look at some information and I've seen how this has affected people. And I really regret what I said. And I clearly don't know enough to be tweeting about this. Let's say she had done that. Like it would have still sucked that she did it in the first place, but like that would be so much better than where we're at right now, which is we know that she's capable of saying something and she hasn't said a word. Like that is so much worse because I mean, it's not like a dead person where they can't say something.
Yeah.
It's like she's alive and she could be saying something and she's not. So that's just every day she doesn't, that makes it worse.
And then
I'm
given that she
surprised
is
she
still alive, is there a path to redemption for her in any scenario?
I mean, if she like, I still think she probably did a lot of damage with that tweet, no matter what. But like, if she did go talk to GLAAD and then maybe even like, you know, really, really did some soul searching, really changed.
Honestly, I don't think
and
it's
then
for us
became an
to
advocate
say.
of some sort.
I don't think it's for us to say if there's anything
definitely
she can do.
not.
I think that
I don't think so either.
that question is left best up to a member of the trans community.
That's true.
To
I agree.
decide whether or not what she did is forgivable, because we have the privilege of saying, well, maybe if she donated money to a cause and apologized, but at the end of the day, like, we weren't directly affected by it. Like,
and also when you have that much money, just as donating money to a cause, really,
right?
I mean,
does that absolve
I agree
you?
with you, Colleen. Like, I agree that that's ultimately not our call, but at the same time, like, it doesn't hurt to do stuff like that,
Right?
It
From
does
a
hurt to
PR
not do
standpoint,
anything.
Right?
Yeah. And like, I don't want to do like say anything. I mean, obviously I can't say what the right thing to do is, obviously, but and there's issues with this approach too, like white savior idea. But Katie Couric, her like journey after making a like kind of stupid irresponsible comment about trans people. Like, she went on this whole journey where she made this documentary, Gender Revolution, that, I mean, it has issues, but it's actually a very educational movie that I would recommend. I feel like she kind of is an example of somebody who can put her foot in her mouth and then learn from the experience and actually do good. So that's just one like suggestion that I have, not for J.K. Rowling, but it's something that's an example of somebody who kind of had a redemption story on a much lesser scale.
Yeah. If anybody out there has anything to add to us, and we will of course share the feedback with Alice and Martha as well. And if it is something that calls for direct feedback, we can always figure out like how to get you guys' feedback on it. But if anybody has something that is worthy to contribute to the conversation and discussion in a constructive, positive, or a constructive or positive manner, constructive meaning if there's anything that we've said today that you feel needs to, correct us a little bit, we're of course open and receptive to that as well. And we would love to hear, what people have to say on the matter, of course. Yeah, it is. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
I will say that I am really sorry to anybody listening to this show right now who was directly affected or had family that was directly affected by her comments, because it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if you are one of those people, we love you and we support you. And I hope you always find a safe place here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, as always, whenever I talk about topics like this, I'm like, I'm not the expert, so I hope that I didn't say anything that offended someone. So please, I mean, I feel like, we're doing the best we can, but of course, I'm not an expert, like I said. So
yeah. To end this discussion on a positive note, I found a couple of lists from the end of 2019 of the best LGBTQ books of 2019. One is from Harper's Bazaar. The other one is Oprah's best list. I will put some of these in the show notes if anybody is interested in supporting LGBTQIA plus authors. I'll put a bunch of these links in the show notes. So please feel free to do that. And maybe, I don't know, add them to the broadcast book club list for us as well. All right. Does anybody have any last thoughts about this before we get into Matt's What She Says and the poop thing?
No, just
I'm
again,
good.
like, I hope that I can learn and grow as well. If I said anything that I whenever I have a discussion like this, I do also just want to like clarify that I'm coming from a place of privilege and not necessarily full understanding of a situation. So, yeah,
right.
Yes.
Yes.
I say wrong things every single day.
Yep.
I love to be corrected so that maybe I don't say them wrong again in the future.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Whew. All right, then. All right, so let's move on to something a little lighter, and that would be Matt's What She Said.
Okay, so to start the Matt's What She Said, or since Shandy is watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, hashtag title of your sex tape. Thank you, Matt. You know that in a month, you do that again.
She's muted. She doesn't know she's muted.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Afterwards, hold on till May.
Not everyone gets that one.
It's been approved. It's on the books.
I'll figure out how to eventually put it in.
I do them all at once.
It's just a little bit fuzzy.
If we have enough, we can do a two-parter.
Oh, you couldn't wait one more day?
I saw it and thought it was okay.
I'm glad that you
That was about Little Women.
I don't know if we want to do this now or later.
You don't have to pull my leg there.
I don't think anyone's gotten it.
I can watch from my window.
Well, it's cold outside. I can do this.
That was supposed to take me a month to get through, and I did it in 48 hours.
I'll open this twice. I'll take it twice. Once for each of you.
We can do that next if we have time.
I can handle it, but it's not my first preference.
This one, okay. I like me some boring nuts.
You get all the good ones today.
Why did that? What was the context for that one?
On the airplane.
Airplane
Oh.
peanuts.
Oh,
Airplane food.
Right.
32% of people hold it.
I could do all three.
I will share with the person in the middle.
They just get screwed on both.
I usually like to keep it open, generally, no matter what time of day.
Do that when you're flying.
It's going to come up at some point.
Oh, just as we're about to finish, JP has joined us.
Nice.
All right. We're going to finish this up with an email from Greg. It's crossover FMK. Hello, Broad Sisters. Is that a thing, or did I just make up your couple's name? I think you did.
Made up our couple's name.
Made up a couple's name.
Blob sisters.
I don't want to retread previous ground from the past couple years, so I shall go to the Fantastic Beasts for this year's FMK lineups. Hopefully, I made it in on time, and this won't be delayed until next year. You know how like the next movie got delayed. Oops. All right, round one: Newt versus Graves versus Jacob Kowalski.
Okay. I guess I would say kill Graves, fuck Newt, and marry Jacob.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's
I
the
don't
only
remember who Graves or Jacob are.
Graves is Colin Farrell.
Oh.
Jacob is like the muggle.
The Muggle version of
The
it.
Nomad, you mean?
The little man.
Although
Yeah.
I do like some Colin Farrell, but yeah.
Yeah.
I wish that
Maybe
that
not
Johnny
in this
Depp would
story.
go back to Colin Farrell, or Voldemort would go back to being Colin Farrell, but whatever.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and Shandy, you can't answer these because you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts.
Very true.
Yeah.
Oops.
Spoiler alert, the second one is kind of a shit show. Round two. Isn't it Tina versus Queenie versus Lita Lestrange? So Lita Lestrange is Zoe Kravitz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I so would.
It's kind of hard because I like all of them.
Yeah. I don't want to
Okay.
kill any of them, that's for sure.
I'll
I'll
kill
probably
Queenie.
kill Tina.
Oh,
Ooh, both.
Yeah, she can be kind of annoying. Like I like her, but
Yeah, I'll marry Queenie and
no, Queenie's actually I think fuck Queenie. Like she's kind of annoying to be married to.
actually, you know what? Maybe I'll kill Queenie and I'm gonna fuck Tina and marry no, I'm gonna marry Tina and fuck Lita. Yeah,
yeah, Lita's
yeah.
pretty hot.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's it. Lock it
That
in.
makes sense.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll lock it in. Round three. Young Grindelwald versus young Dumbledore versus Nicholas Flamel.
Okay, kill Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I would marry him. He was so weird.
He's like, who knows?
I would maybe
It'd be
No, that was
fun.
Grindelwald.
Life would be fun.
Yeah, actually, I forgot about young
how
Grindelwald.
young Grindelwald is actually Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
Yeah, get rid of him. Gone.
Wait.
Goodbye.
So if
So
you
I
kill,
These are all awful, actually.
marry young Dumbledore.
I don't know. I'd hit young.
So you're
Dumbledore.
gonna fuck
I'd tap
Nicholas
that.
Flamel?
Well, okay, yeah, that's true. But
That's what I'm telling you. You got to marry him.
Nicholas Flamel's really annoying. Like I
Just
don't
put him in the kitchen. Just let him
Let him go be weak.
make stuff.
Guys.
I guess if you marry Nicholas Flamel, you also get access to the Sorcerer's Stone. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I think that's the way to go.
There are a lot of things worse than death.
Hmm
That's one of the biggest lessons of the Sorcerer's Stone. Clearly, you haven't learned it yet.
No, I'm thinking about that gold you can make.
True.
Guys. Is killing young Grindelwald kind of like the same as killing young Hitler?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
true. If we're thinking about the character.
Just asking.
Although Grindelwald, I mean, we don't really know how much damage he really ended up doing because he was defeated early enough and put into
No,
prison.
he did a lot.
Enough.
He did enough
Goodbye.
that
Goodbye.
Molly and Arthur felt like they had to marry really young because they were all terrified.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, round 4.
That's horrible.
Thesis Scamander versus Credence versus Nagini in human form.
I can't really remember who Thesis Scamander is, to be honest.
That's
was
Newt's
such-
brother.
He was attractive.
Oh yeah,
Kind of. He's
though.
kind of
And then,
tall.
I don't like
He's
Credence.
kind of
Kind
tall.
of tall?
I
You
mean,
say that like it's a bad
I mean,
thing.
Newt is kind of tall.
Newt's kind of short, isn't he?
No, he's tall.
He's pretty
But-
tall.
Eddie Redmayne is
He
tall.
kind of has short energy in a good way. He's kind of a short king.
Like a Napoleon?
No, no, Napoleon has short energy in a bad way.
And he doesn't have too big of an ego. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like, yeah, like he's well-rounded and
All right.
I don't know.
I'll marry
I don't know what this is supposed
I'm
to
on I'm on Google Image, so I'm gonna marry Thesis, kill Credence, and fuck Nagini in human form only.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that as well.
I agree.
Otherwise, yeah. All right, sweet. That's all he's got. Finally learned to
Greg.
have no creatures of any sort.
Yeah, thank you for not doing Nagini in snake form.
Our first
'Cause-
year without bestiality. Yes.
Yes, for once.
Oh well, we had the newt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We all killed the newt except for Alice. She was really
I
into
did not.
it.
I just felt bad for the newt. I didn't want to kill a living creature.
This is true. I know.
But if you just put a newt in like a terrarium, then it's kind of like you don't have to be married.
True.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's so.
So it's like the best. It's like the best kind of being married. Am I right?
Sure.
I'm not sure, but sure.
Alrighty then. So we're gonna finish this up with the poop thing. This is the article that Amanda found last week after she was trying to prove that her being creeped out by moving toilets was a thing. And this is a BuzzFeed article. These pooping in public tweets are equally parts funny, awkward, and real. So, woo, here we go. Does everybody have this article up?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have it up.
Okay, so feel
Oh, I've
free.
got it up.
It or what is
Just feel free to jump in at any point.
okay.
I can kick it off though. When you're scared of people recognizing your shoes during a public poop,
Dude,
yeah, I know.
Very, very real.
Do you? And
I get that.
so the tweet is: I once knew a person who didn't want people to know he was pooping, so he brought poop shoes to work so he couldn't be ID'd.
That's brilliant.
That is okay. Come on, I know for a fact that I have definitely walked into the bathroom and been like, "Who is in there?" And glanced
Luckily,
at the
like
shoes.
I work in a big enough place where like I don't generally know what everybody's shoes are on a daily basis. But my problem is I really only wear like one pair of shoes like all winter. So probably other people know who I am.
I will say all toilets should be onesies. It's probably not the best use of space, but just gonna throw that out there.
Yep.
Yeah, but
I
they-
agree.
Make people much more comfortable.
A
I
killer
agree.
fan though. No, because I have a one stall bathroom now, and there's got to be the poopery and a fan, because otherwise, when you come out, everyone knows it was you.
Oh, that is fair. There is that.
I love
Just matches
poopery.
with you.
Poopery is magic.
I
Yeah.
only
You
had to
gotta
use it
gotta
once.
spray before you go.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know. So
Oh, I didn't know. You don't
only-
spray after? You
No,
spray
you
before?
spray before,
In the water.
Yeah,
and then
you
it
spray
traps
before.
the smell underneath.
Water.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Try it if you have never tried it before. It works pretty well.
I got it for Alice and Paul for Christmas last year. when I was
Now,
living
that
with
when
them.
we all lived in a 2-bedroom house with one bathroom.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Now it wouldn't be as bad of a problem. But
Yeah.
Martha was giving a subtle hint to the group.
No, I got it because I knew I was gonna want to use it.
Oh my god, that is so funny. Cool. When you hate that your food choices impact your bowels, And the tweet is, when you hate pooping in public restrooms, but them tacos from earlier ain't giving you no options.
Oh, this one's real. When some evil person invades your pooping space. Text is when someone comes into the bathroom and takes the stall next to me when I'm pooping, and then it's like a gif of someone just screaming, "No!"
No, that's not just someone. That is the gif of
Is that
from Community with the what's the worst timeline?
Oh yeah.
right? You're
Community.
sorry. I didn't actually play it. I see it now.
Yeah.
Jumping to the last one on this list, I relate to this very hard because I was recently in the Atlanta airport, and it says you breathe a sigh of relief seeing that the stall has built-in air fresheners. And somebody said, I don't love pooping in public restrooms, but the Atlanta airport is very inviting. It has the picture of the sign, Active Air. Meet the Active Air automated install freshener dispenser from GP Pro. Wave your hand to enjoy a quiet and gentle release, which is sure to enhance your restroom experience.
Wow.
I recently got to try out the GP Pro when I was in the Atlanta airport over Christmas break, and 5 stars.
5 stars.
But what kind of toilet was it?
Now that it probably was like GP Pro. I don't remember. I don't remember. It was over a month ago now. So
That's fair.
You know how people sometimes go, where are my tax dollars going?
that's where.
That is where your tax dollars
Now
are going.
that is something that everyone can get on board with.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one that points out, it says, when you panic at the fact that the gaps between stall doors allow literally everyone to see you.
Dude, I was just looking at that one.
There's a bathroom that is absolutely awful for this, and Martha, you'll know. It's the Ribbon Chop House in Livingston, Montana.
It's awful.
I'm going to call that out right now. It has giant gaps, and if you're in one stall, you can literally look into
Because the
stall.
handicap stall is like
Yeah.
goes against the wall, and then the other one is like kind of perpendicular to it, and the
Yes.
gap between the door of the non-accessible stall and the accessible stall, there's like a 2 or 3 inch gap where you literally can like see in.
Right into the other stall, like where the person is sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
awful.
but like we can call out all of America for this because it is not that way in other places.
True.
And it's very it's a very weird contradiction because we are very sort of like puritanical in certain ways and like very like what is the word?
Like prudish.
Prudish, thank you. We are very prudish in certain ways. And yet our public restrooms just have like, you know, like gaps on each side and just like a whole ton of room on the top and on the bottom. Like you can just, if you really want to, you can easily see what's going on. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is. And yeah, because in a European bathroom, you would not have to worry about the shoe thing.
No, because it's like a whole door. And those are much less prudish cultures. And yet in the bathroom, in public restrooms, they have like a full on door. Like there's no, you know, you
Which
can,
makes a lot more sense.
which really does make a lot more sense. Like, is it a materials cost? Like what's going on here? Where are we cutting corners?
Because that's what America does, is we put our money in the wrong fucking shit, except with the exception of
Literally, in this case,
no, the GP
Pro.
Yeah, that shit. That the air freshener thing. That's like the only good thing that I've seen in a long time. with
Agreed.
Yeah.
possibly with public funding. Who knows? It
Okay,
probably
so
was rich too.
another form of waste is when the auto flush keeps happening in
Yes!
the middle of your business.
Yes.
Just
I
like
hate it.
It's like, why
Why?
are you trying to
And then
courtesy
you
flush
stand
me?
in front of the sink for like 10 minutes trying to get the water to go.
yeah. No, so and
I'm like,
here's
"Where am I
my
supposed?"
here's my ultimate complaint about the auto flush is when you take the time to like set down the little cover. And then literally sometimes like in the time that I'm like turning around to then sit on it, the auto flush will go off and like suck it into the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
never
how
used a
about when
toilet
you're-
seat cover.
How about when you're peeing
Ooh.
and it auto flushes and you're like, damn it, now people are going to think that I pooped. They're going to think I'm courtesy flushing here.
Okay, so Martha, you don't use the seat cover. Do you use toilet paper or do you just bareback it?
No, you don't bareback it. You bareback it.
Bareback it.
You
I do
know,
a lot of the time too.
sometimes I have
I figure we're all gonna die of some germ.
Yeah. Sometimes if it looks gross, I'll toilet paper it.
Yeah.
But most of the time,
I think it's fair. I'm like very much in the habit of toilet seat cover, and if there's not toilet seat cover, I toilet paper it. But then sometimes I think to myself, this is wasteful. I'm not actually going to get a disease if I sit down.
Okay, I have a question about the
Sometimes
toilet
I also
seat
just hover.
I hover if it's really
I'll
gross. I hover.
squat sometimes if it looks really gross again.
The
Yeah.
toilet seat cover, are you supposed to flush that then when you're done? I'm never sure.
Yeah,
what the
you
deal with
flush
that
it.
is. Okay.
I
That
will
plastic
exact-
thing is supposed to go in the.
It's not plastic. It's
plastic.
paper. You would know that if you'd
Paper.
ever used one.
It's like a very thin.
I'm
like,
thinking about
paper material.
those like rotating.
Oh, that's like from at the airport. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't do anything. It does it for you.
Okay,
I kind of those things are. Why did those not catch on
those
more?
seem even. Yeah, well, they seem even grosser to me than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
where
just,
do they
like, don't
go?
really
How
trust
does it
that,
come back around? Like,
Exactly.
I have so many questions.
Lots of
I
questions.
know. I've always wondered that too.
Is it just? It's like, haha, we've tricked them.
Yeah,
Right. Like, okay.
those
so
are the
it's
ones that
either-
I'm most likely to squat for. Honestly,
It's either super wasteful because it's like a ton of plastic for every time somebody uses it, and it like shuffles. I think it's kind of like the auto flush where it's like shuffling a little bit too often.
yeah.
And then like either that or they're just recycling it every time, and that's even worse.
Yeah.
Okay. What
On
about
that
when you-
note,
Yeah, I think that's enough.
I think we've gone as far as we can with the poop thing. Although this one is funny. When you take your phone into a stall and accidentally forget to mute a video.
oh yeah, I've done that before.
One time I went into a stall and it was the handicap stall at the end because I liked it because it had a lot of room, and I was just sitting there on my phone, just like playing and like checking Twitter and playing like Candy Crush, but I played the Wizard of Oz version of it or something. Like I was like just like whatever, and it occurred to me after maybe 30 seconds or so that someone was standing outside of the stall door, and in the bathroom at my old office used to have like 4 or 5 stalls. And I was like, oh shit, somebody's waiting to come in here or whatever. So like I hurry up, I leave, and it's my boss who had a broken ankle at the time that needed the handicap stall, and she's like, really like, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I was on Twitter. She was like, you can't do this at your desk. I was like, it's just so comfortable in here. It's like my home base away from home. It was a lesson learned, though. I've been really good about not doing that.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll turn you off of doing that.
Yeah. I'm always willing to learn, guys. I'm always willing to learn. All right. On that note, so concludes the 3rd annual Real Weird crossover, #Broad Sisters, #Real Weird Broads. Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
Real Weird
I think
Broads.
that's what it's got to be.
Okay. In bed. Thank you. Why not? It was a week ago for them. It was an hour ago for us.
And it never gets old.
You know, it
Never.
never gets old. Big thank you to Alice and Martha for coming and hanging out with us again. This is one of my favorite episodes to record every year. It's this one and the live show that we do in the Raleigh Weed Up Weekend. Those are my 2 favorite ones to record each year. So thank you so much. And thank you for indulging us with 2 episodes this year, 2 planned episodes versus last year where we recorded for like 2.5 hours. And I was like, guys, we're going to have to record an outro and an intro because this is going to have to be 2. So thank you. Do you
Thank
want
you for
to
inviting us. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's one of the things I look forward to every year too. So thank you so much.
Yay! Hey, yay! I was gonna say 2 years from now. I don't know. I've got nothing. Do you-
Will Zach be the same age, or Alex will be the same age that Zach was when we did our second Real Weird crossover?
I don't know. That wasn't math I was prepared to do, so I stopped myself.
I think I might have been correct.
I think so too.
But anyway, why don't you guys tell all the listeners where they can find you? All the things. Go for it.
So you can find us just on iTunes or any podcatcher. We're The Real Weird Sisters. And then, of course, like on social media, facebook.com/Real Weird Sisters. Twitter is just @Real Weird Sister. And then, Martha, did you want to promote your Twitter or anything?
I'm Real Weird Martha.
And I am Alice Osselson. You can try to figure out that spelling for yourself.
Cool. I will put all of that in the show notes. We will be back to record a new episode for February 11th to come out on February 14th. Ooh, that'll be our episode of love or something like that for Valentine's Day. No, nobody? Okay. Well, anyway, thanks guys for playing. If you have any feedback, again, for anything we talked about this week or last week, the broadcasters3@gmail.com or 331-276-2373. We love to hear what people have to say, as always. If you want to shop through the Amazon affiliates link, you can go to jayandjack.com/Amazon, all lowercase letters. Please check out the list in the show notes of LGBTQIA plus authors that were compiled. And thank you to the patrons. If you'd like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/jayandjack or go to jayandjack.com and click on the Become a Patron link at the top right-hand corner of the page. Thank you to the patrons that contribute at a certain level, and that would be Tack from Tokyo, Eckhart Rickner, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, and Drake the Destroyer of Time. Oh, and Ed the Creepy Mailman. Sorry, Ed, but we love you when you're not creepy. Yeah, I guess on that note, thanks again, ladies. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
I'm Shandy.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Martha.
All right, peace out, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.